Recording. Go for it.
All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 0 of the Link-Cable Podcast, our new podcast where we're going to be discussing all things gaming. So my name is Alex. I'll be your host today, and I'm joined by Zaid, Jacob, and Kevin from the Link-Cable team. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
How's it going?
Hi.
It's going all right. All right.
Excited for our first podcast, so this is going to be fun.
Yeah, our 0th podcast.
Our zeroth
Zeroth.
podcast.
Zero
There we
if
go.
podcast. Yeah, so this is our first episode. It's a bit of a test episode. It's going to be a bit rough around the edges. So if you guys see anything that you'd say, hey, that should be a bit different, or you guys could look into that, make sure to let us know in the comment sections. We'll make sure to be reviewing those. But yeah, so we're going to talk about all things gaming today.
Cool. So usually we'll probably end up just uploading this somewhere. So if you're listening or watching, thank you. But we would usually be live on Twitch and Mixer and YouTube, and you could chat with us live and have cool interactions and stuff like that. So look forward to hearing from you guys.
Perfect. So come on and join us live in the chat. We'll be chatting along and reading your comments during the show. So please feel free to participate. And remember, gaming links people together, and that's what we were here for.
Perfect. And we'll be discussing today, just taking a quick look at what we've played over the past week, the upcoming April games that are releasing. Also discussing Modern Warfare 2, the campaign remake that just recently came out, and discussing the PS Plus and Games with Gold that also recently released.
Yeah. So all of a sudden, it seems like the first 3 months of the year, there wasn't a whole lot going on for games. It was a bit of a more quiet time. It's just not a whole lot to play. And then all of a sudden, about a week ago, the game of the year came out. And I want to talk about this, and we're just going to jump right into it. It is one of my favorite games that I've played in a really, really long time. It's Animal Crossing: New Horizons for the Nintendo Switch. So, I mean, everyone should have an idea of what Animal Crossing is at this point. Maybe not from just the game, but like as almost a bit of a culture for Nintendo fans. It's been a long time since the last one. New Leaf came out on the 3DS over 7 years ago now.
Seriously,
and
that long ago?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you remember when the last console release was, Alex, for Animal Crossing?
Yeah, it was Animal Crossing City Folk on the Wii, and that was in 2008.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
I remembered it was 11 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a really long time since a console Animal Crossing game, and I mean, it's a Switch game. Is it a console game? Is it a handheld game? It's both. Like you're kind of blending it in together there, but it really does feel. And like I'm working on a review, so I'll have a whole lot more in-depth analysis of everything up on Link-Cable in hopefully a week. It is a bit of a slower paced game to try to get through everything. But one of the things that I'm really, really, really liking is that this is the Animal Crossing game that takes the biggest leap forward for the series
so
ever.
Before you go down that route, so which ones of everything have you played? So there's been GameCube, a DS, Wii, 3DS, and now this one, I think. Is that right?
And the original N64, if I'm right?
It's the 64 version only came out in Japan. And I did not live in Japan at any point in my life, so I've never played that one.
So what's everybody's experience with all these games? So I've only played the GameCube one and the DS one. That's it. I haven't played anything else other than the newest one now.
I had never grown up very big around Nintendo products at home. It just was never our gaming bread and butter. For us, it was more Sony and Xbox or Microsoft. So I actually never really got to play Animal Crossing. I only ever saw it be played at friends' houses and only discussed in videos. So I've never really gone through and had an Animal Crossing experience up until like very recently when with actually funny enough with Smash Bros, where the introduction of characters got introduced to it, and then I actually started looking at it more, and my friends got me really more interested in it. So Animal Crossing is this weird game that I have never really totally divested in. It's just everywhere, though.
I had a friend ask me if I would recommend Animal Crossing to them, and I asked them, like, have you ever played any games before in the series? And they said no. And I said, well, have you played The Sims? And they said, yeah. And I said, okay, well, imagine playing as the Sim. And that's Animal Crossing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's such a weird concept.
Yeah, I mean, I remember watching you playing Animal Crossing on the Wii growing up, and knowing my tendencies with certain games, I feel if I would like actually pick up Animal Crossing, I would literally give up everything else. It's just the type of experience where you're collecting, you're like just sifting through everything and like every nook and cranny. It's just like, you know, it looks great. I just know myself, and if I were to buy Animal Crossing, whether it be the one on the Wii or the one on the Switch, again, you probably never see me again. So for me, I stay away from those types of games. And for those that, for you guys especially, you already know that I play a lot of MMORPGs. So I have the tendency of trying to collect, gather, and just get everything. And yeah, if I were to do that with Animal Crossing, I mean, I would have to give up those countless hours that I've already invested in those games just to start playing Animal Crossing to catch tarantulas and find some fish.
Yeah. It's the kind of game where it's if you only have 5 minutes a day, you can get a lot done, and if you have all day to play, you can get just as much done. Like it's very casual in it's at your own pace. It's at your own leisure how you progress in the game. Actually, a bit of a look ahead to the review. It's actually one of the things I find is a negative about this game is the intro is very, very slow. It takes about 4 or 5 days, almost a week, before you are actually,
oh my god,
I would say as free as you are at the beginning of New Leaf to do things. Yeah, it's a very ponderous start to the game. Unless you cheat, unless you time travel, and then the world is yours. You can do whatever you want. But
do you think, Alex, that's to bring, because it's like they haven't really had a new Animal Crossing in a decade on console, and that's essentially kind of just to really delve into like the core mechanics of it for people who are fresh starting,
No, so I have a thought on this. I think it's because this is a modern game in modern gaming cycles where people are used to periodic updates and events and timed events and things like that. The old Animal Crossing games tried to do that locked to the system itself, so it was very much like, things would happen as you expected them to happen based on your settings. Now I think for this one, it almost feels like Nintendo wants to control your whole experience going through it, where they're like, day 1, this happens. Day 2, this happens. And so it has a bit more of a structured vibe right there, which is a bit ironic to say, because later in the game, when you do start getting those options for customization that open up, especially like the kind of the landscape options, it's massively different than anything that's come before it. But before that, it feels very much like this is supposed to happen the same way.
Do you think
for
that
everyone.
they do that spoon feeding just because they're trying to reach a much bigger audience instead of just people like us who are like, okay, just we know what we're doing already. We've played 100 of these. So like my wife, this is her first time playing pretty much any video game at all. And if she was not spoon-fed with the week-long like tutorials, I think she would have given up in like an hour, because I mean, you should have seen her try to pick up branches. She just didn't know what was going on. She's like, what do I have to do? I was like, no, you walk over, you push a button, and she's trying to figure out how to move the character around. And it was so I think it's is it a double-edged sword? Is that the right thing? Where it's like, I think it's good to get everybody in there, and I think they're going to enjoy it. But like when I'm playing, I'm annoyed with it too. It's like, okay, I know what I need to do. I know I need to get an axe. I know I need to do this. Just let me get to it. Like, stop, like, tutorial gating me, hand-holding me. It's just too. I wish you could skip tutorials. Maybe that's a fair point.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's the type of game that is. Nintendo knew everyone was going to get it, including a whole lot of people who have never played an Animal Crossing game before. So I'm sure they're leaning towards those folks as well, saying, hey, everyone's in on this together. We're just going to start from one point, and we're going to control the experience going forward. In that sense, it kind of reminds me a lot of the new Pokemon games. Someone who's played Pokemon since it came out and then have to go through the same tutorials and everything every single time. I kind of getting that feeling with I would say the first week of the game is a bit of a slog, and then after that it opens up pretty nicely. I do mean it when I say it's so far my personal game of the year. It is, maybe it's the timing. Obviously with everything going on in the world, it's kind of nice to be like, here's this jolly little remote island you can go sit on and just, work on making your end tables the way you want them. And it has a bit of a lot of escapism to it, which is really nice.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's one of the games when I get a Switch, hopefully this year, it's one of the games I definitely want to pick up, among my top 3 being, funny enough, Animal Crossing right now. Just to experience what this game is. I feel like it's kind of an attitude or a lifestyle. It's like a lifestyle game,
Yep.
I really want to pick that up. And my other 2 games that I really want to switch for is Smash Bros, because I always just go over to my friend's place to play it. And finally, a Legend of Zelda game, Breath of the Wild. I really want to play a Zelda game.
The Switch is a great place to start with that. It's the best Zelda game in decades, and the best Smash Brothers game in decades. I think if you do get a Switch, hopefully soon, there's games to play for sure. I don't want to hijack the show and have it be all about Animal Crossing, because I could talk about Animal Crossing for forever. But does anyone else have anything they've been playing that they want to do a bit of a show and tell about?
Sure. Well, ever since the quarantine's been going on mostly, it's not like I didn't play a lot before, but I've definitely been playing a lot more now. Cross-platform play with my friends on Xbox for Destiny 2. The Season of the Worthy came out, which is the PvP-heavy season. So I've been grinding that out a lot with my friends. And the main event, Trials of Osiris, we actually finally played it for the first time last night. And I was like... and these guys, they're like casual PvPers, and they're good, but Trials is a different level of, So I'm like, guys, you don't understand. Like Trials is its own PvP. It's not like competitive. It's, it's you got to get 7 wins to make it worth it. So people will destroy us. And they're like, yeah, we'll just play and have fun and kick some ass. I'm like, oh boy, they're not getting this. I think we got 5-0'd like 7 times in a row.
What console you playing on?
Right now,
Okay.
Xbox, but
Not Stadia?
I'm a PS4.
Just kidding.
Not Stadia. I want to play Stadia so badly. I just love
People
that
who have
concept.
Stadia wish they could
But-
play it too, because it barely works.
Yeah.
Brutal. So yeah, it's just been a lot of fun. I really like, Destiny. People have their critiques on the franchise as a whole, and I totally get that. And even there's a lot of critiques happening right now with Season of the Worthy. But you know what? I'll give it to Bungie for doing something different every season and trying out new things. And it may lose the player audience and it may bring some back. But I'll be honest, maybe I prefer. I'm more of a PvE person in general. But the PvE content they brought in a very PvP heavy focused season is just really fun and pretty good, and I'm enjoying it a lot so far. They're bringing out different builds and changing up the map layouts and the dynamics, and I just think it's been interesting. And my friends who only really started playing Destiny as of this year pretty much have really gotten into it, and they're really digging the game and digging the fact that we can all play together now. And I really like the idea that the cross-platform it's cross-save, not cross-platform, kind of help bring that together.
Yeah, the cross.
You just said something really interesting about getting into Destiny now. Because that is the only reason I don't play these types of games unless I get it on day one. I feel like I will start off way too far behind to even get any type of fun. I've been burned on games like that before where I'm late to the party and everyone's kind of like moved on from where I'm at, so I end up playing solo a whole lot. So if let's say I've never played a minute of Destiny 2. If I started today, what would my experience be like?
I personally think like my friends are, they're waiting for me right now. They're like, hurry up with your podcast for something we want to play. That's why the Xbox is on.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest, like what? Two of my buddies got the Destiny 2's like first light expansion. So it's basically they've never played a day in Destiny 2 and they jumped in when they made it free for everybody back in October. So they started there. So they had to catch up on year one and year two, the year two campaign Forsaken. Mm-hmm. But they had to, if they wanted Forsaken, they had the story elements of it, they had to buy it. And luckily when it came out, Forsaken was for like $15. So they got year one
boost or something, isn't that okay?
Yep. And everything got boosted up. I don't think that I think that coming into it right this second, when the season is already in full swing, is not really great. I think Destiny is a good game to get into at any point because I just think there's so much stuff to do in Destiny 2. Like there really, really is. So much so that I know the game so well and I micromanage my friends as like quests and logs. So I know like, okay, he needs to do this quest and that one needs to do this one. That even if we didn't do a single day of this season's campaigns, not even one, I think you would still definitely, for a free game right now, you would get a lot of bang out for your buck, in all honesty.
Yeah.
I don't think that, you may miss the story beats, some of the more like emotional moments of the franchise where you like somebody, a character dies, or when you fight certain enemies, and I think you'll miss those kind of like feelings because it is a live service game, so the story is moving along.
Yeah.
But I think that even if you were still to get into it right now, it would definitely be a really enjoyable experience. If you want to play PvP, you can go grind PvP weapons. If you want to do PvE and explore the world, there's 7 or 8 open destinations right now, and they're all like filled to the brim, and all the public areas are free, even if you don't have Forsaken or Shadowkeep. Not trying to like sell Destiny 2. It has like a lot of big flaws, but
right? Is it?
Oh man, if I could help. I was gonna wear this shirt for today. I was gonna wear my Destiny Moments of Triumph tee.
Very nice.
I just didn't know what I was gonna go in for. But yeah, honestly, if you were to get into it today, I don't think you would have a problem enjoying the game in its current state, even without doing Season of the Worthy.
Do you do any of the cross save stuff? Do you play only on your Xbox, or do you play on other things?
Here is the problem, and this is what I discovered with cross-save and cross-platform. Cross-save does not mean cross-platform. So, I have Shadowkeep, because I'm mainly PS4, bought on my PS4. Which means that when I jump onto my Xbox to play with my friends, I am not able to play the Shadowkeep stuff. Like I can't play the Shadowkeep expansion, except for the things that are allowed to be free on it, like the public space and some of the PvP maps.
Okay.
But like the main campaign story missions, I can't do it. So I would have to essentially rebuy.
You lost me there.
I would have to rebuy Shadowkeep for the Xbox and the PS4 in order to play on both. But it's the only things it really doesn't give you is the story and maybe the raid, and that's about it. It's not like the end of your ability to play, So, and besides, Season of the Worthy is still there, which is not part of the expansion, so you can play Season of the Worthy without having to actually buy Shadowkeep. So there's still a lot of like power purchase, consumer purchase power. So like, and customizability. You can, if you want to play the story for Shadowkeep, you don't have to buy it. But if you want to play the season, it's only $10, and it's for what they like, the amount of stuff that's in the like 4-month season for $10. It really is actually a good investment.
All right. So I'll go find a Stadia, and I'll get into Destiny. That's what I've learned today.
Let me know how that Stadia thing goes.
Yeah.
I want Stadia so bad.
I wanted to, I don't know, work. As a concept, it's interesting, but it's, I mean, you look across the street and xCloud seems to get, like, they have their ducks in a row. Everything seems to be going well for them. Why can't Google do the same? And obviously, they're not coming from an established gaming brand, right? Like, they don't have all the industry reputation that Microsoft has with Xbox, but it's, it's the future for sure, but it's very much the first thing of that future, right?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's kind of like setting up a podcast for the first time. There's going to be glitches and everything, and you just you get through it. You make sure it works.
Episode 0.
I think.
Yeah. Stadia is episode 0.
Stadia is episode 0. You know what? I think I'm worried that I feel like Stadia launched the concept or like the idea in a lot of people's heads of cloud gaming, like more so than a lot of people have done before. I think it was just like a lot of like itty bitty stuff here and there, but I think Stadia really kind of it like globalized the idea of cloud gaming to a level where like it's a conversation piece,
So, what other games have you guys played this week? So you went over, you said you played Destiny, Animal Crossing we've all played, looks like.
Yeah.
I mean, I finished my review of Doom Eternal about a week ago. I'm still playing it. I mean, right now I don't think there's any better game that's worth playing at this time. And I mean, like, to all the Animal Crossing fans who are, like the diehards, I mean, this is my diehard type of game where, it's just been like such a great time. I mean, the campaign's about 15 hours long, give or take, if you're not like looking for the collectibles.
Not bad.
But I mean, but I'm still going back. Like I started from like every difficult setting and try to find every little nook and cranny. And the multiplayer is very different. Like it's 2v1, so it's not your traditional just like one like a team or like one Slayer versus another. It's like 2 demons versus 1 Slayer, which is quite unique.
How do you feel about that? Do you like that they've got that? Because I've heard they don't have a deathmatch mode in it, at least not yet. And the reasoning I heard was because they didn't want to just throw it in there because it feels like you should have it, and they didn't feel like it was necessary. So how do you feel about the multiplayer?
Yeah. I mean, like it's good, but it's also like the weakest link of the game at this point. I feel as though like if you have two, like, I mean, most players that are playing multiplayer are, we'll say, competent. They'll understand the rules based around like the 2v1, but I just feel like the demons themselves are like a little bit overpowered. I mean, they could certainly make modifications to that. It's easy to like pit like the Slayer into a corner and then just like take his health away easily. But other than that, just like for them trying out something very unique and different, I mean, it's great in that sense. Once they, we'll say, they figure out all the kinks in regards to that, I certainly will go back and play the 2v1 mode. But currently, again, just going through the campaign, I think it'll be my 3rd time since I bought the game on the 20th that I'm going through the campaign right now.
Wow.
Just so I can get it.
What console are you playing this on? Or is it on PC?
No, on PS4.
How's it run on PS4?
Honestly, I have the Slim and it's pretty well. You can certainly see like pop-up textures and some sort of lag here and there, but like for the most part, it's super quick. Load times have been definitely improved on since Doom 2016, which I still find like on my PC alone, like there's like a minute load time to like just load like the beginning cinematic. It's just takes forever on PC or I
On
haven't tried it.
PC?
Well, yeah, that's Doom 2016, but like for Doom Eternal, like I feel like it's like the load times are significant on the Slim, but just taking a look on like other devices, I feel like it's a lot quicker. But like it's much faster than what it was before. But yeah, the game itself just runs super fast, and there's a lot more demons and everything going on the screen at the same time. And for it to like be consistent with that is amazing.
I was speaking to my buddy, or one of my friends who plays Destiny with me, and he's like really, really big into Doom right now. And I didn't get a chance to play Doom 2016, which he definitely recommends, and I actually really want to pick up sometime when it's on a good sale. Um, and he was talking to me about like the story, and I love lore, and so does he. And he was talking to me about like the story of where Doom's at. And I'm like, what is this game you are talking about? I'm like, isn't Doom Guy just some random Marine who ended up on Mars and just blew up a ton of demons? I'm like, and isn't that where it ended? You know, that's all I needed to know to shoot some demon.
It's
Like,
like in the first stage.
Yeah.
It certainly plays like that too, though. Like the story, and it's something that I really love about Doom Eternal and Doom 2016 is that there is a story. Like Bethesda made this character into like his own icon. Yeah, but the story does take a back step in comparison to like other big AAA games where like it seems to be the focus, like everything else seems to be the focus, but like no, this guy, like the story in Doom from like Doom 1993 to Doom Eternal now, it's basically this very angry guy who just will not die and he's just killing everything, but everything else outside of that, like it's just like it feels like added content, and it's terrific. And like in like in the hub world, you'll find like all these little like quirky things going on. Like like at one point he has like guitars on the wall they're like the most metal guitars ever. Like at one point I think there's like one, it's like literally like a pentagram guitar or like a goat's head guitar. And then like you turn the corner and then there's like you see the Slayer and he has a shotgun in hand, but it's like this big portrait, and he has the bunny from like Doom 2 in his hand too. So like they go back and like they make fun of like the history of Doom, but at the same time it's like he's much more than just like that simple idea where it's like, oh, this guy's just super angry, just wants to kill everything. He's his own character, doesn't talk a lot, but he's just as now like that franchise itself I think is going to be really big moving forward, especially. Like I wouldn't be surprised if like Doom Eternal is like already in the works.
So
on mute.
It's coming to Switch.
Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, it's coming to Switch. And you talked about the performance on PS4. If it's not the PS4 Pro, it tends to run a bit slower. I mean, I didn't get. I have Doom 2016 on the Xbox. I didn't get it on the Switch. But I'm curious. How do you think it's going to end? How do you think it's going to run on Switch? What's that experience going to be like if you could predict it, Jacob?
Yeah. Well, I got to try Doom, or was it? No, it was Wolfenstein 2 on the Switch at E3, and that ran surprisingly well. Granted, you can see the limited hardware that the Switch has in comparison to the other two home consoles, but like no, for the most part it ran pretty fast. And unfortunately I don't have Doom on the Switch and I really want it, but I can't really tell myself to buy a third copy of Doom.
Sure you can.
But yeah, well, especially for $70. But I mean, I'm not entirely too worried. It's still Panic Button, I think, that's still working on that port, isn't it not?
I think so. Yeah. I don't know.
If it is, Doom Eternal is in really good hands, and I don't see it being like, let's say, the lessened version, unless they decide to cut out the content. We'll say the 2v1. Then again, it may be like then you may have to decide, well, do I want the less, the version that looks better and has everything else, or do I want the version I can take on the go? But I don't think it would be the case with Doom Eternal, nor is it the case with like any of the Bethesda games that they've ported so far. Like for some reason, Bethesda games, in terms of quality, like run and play amazingly on the Switch, and hopefully that they'll be able to bring more games outside of Doom Eternal as well.
So I was going to jump in and say that I think that this and Animal Crossing came out at like the perfect time right now with this coronavirus quarantine stuff going on, because that's all I've been seeing people talk about. And these games did not get delayed like a lot of other stuff that was supposed to come out this month or even around this time. So, I mean, those games really stole the show. Everybody I know is playing Animal Crossing and or Doom, and people that don't play video games, like I mentioned, my wife, all of her coworkers are playing it, and they're not gamers. They're not people who would usually go out and play anything like that. I have not picked up Doom, and I've been very close to getting it probably about 4 or 5 times now, and I keep going, no, I have plenty of things to play. Don't play this right now. I don't need it, but hearing you guys talk about it makes me want to play it again, and I'm just like, I don't need it. I don't know when to wait. I'm like, oh, I can wait. I'm sure it'll go down to like $20 or something soon, but
eventually, right?
Yeah.
My curiosity though with Bethesda releasing Doom Eternal is things like Fallout 76 that completely tank. It's just I don't understand how you can make such a hit and also such a flop.
I mean, Fallout 76 isn't id. Like it's whatever studio does Fallout. I don't know who they are.
Is it the same studio that made Fallout that made that one? Because is it some? I don't even know, because I didn't even want to look at that game because it was so. I played it for about 20 minutes and I was pissed, and I'll never play it again.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I have the world's supply of information right in front of me. I'm curious to see who the developer for 76 is. Bethesda Softworks, Bethesda Games. It's an internal thing.
That game sucks.
But yeah,
like
it really does.
Bad.
It's
just not
really
fun,
does.
and I don't get that.
Yeah.
And like, I was so mad at the end of, I think it was the end of last year, like maybe around this time last year, where every game that was coming out was a live service game. It was like, oh, we got the Division 2. Oh, we have Fallout 76 is later in the year. And then we have the Far Cry New Dawn. Like, all these games, it's like, I know it's too soon for sequels it wasn't time for the next Far Cry. It wasn't time for the next Fallout. But it was like, oh, no, we'll just take what we had before and turn it into a live service game. And like I was saying earlier, I'm not the type of person that likes to like jump into these things later. So like I had to pick one and kind of roll with it, and I picked Far Cry, which is if there is ever a middle of the road game, it was Far Cry New Dawn. Bethesda's been a bit all over the place with general quality of projects lately. Like some are really good, like the Doom series have been really, really good. Prey is still underrated. Prey is excellent.
Super underrated.
Like, it's such a great game. Then you have Fallout 76, which is garbage. So we need that. This is where we need that flushing sound from a soundboard or something. This is where we go in perfectly.
Yeah, that game was just. I was like, I got it for I think $5, and I was like, I'll try this out. Still wasn't worth it.
Wow.
And my only experience with the Fallout series is like old experience. Like I haven't played 4, but I played 1, 2, and 3, and I was like, okay, like 1 and 2 are their own kind of thing. 3 was pretty good, and then since then I have never heard like no one say anything nice about Fallout. Some people like New Vegas. Some people don't like New Vegas. I have no idea if it's good or not.
New Vegas is amazing. I as a side note, I think New Vegas is at least top 5 games of all time. It's actually in terms of my RPG and gaming experience, Fallout New Vegas is, I would safely say, perfect. It's. I feel like it's The Witcher 3 of the old generation of the Xbox 360 and PS3 era. Yeah.
Wow.
Everything about
Really?
for me personally. Yeah.
That is
Super
bold
bold, and I
statement.
thought
Zach.
that
That
game
is a
was
very bold
yeah.
statement.
Compared, I think it's better than Fallout 3 significantly. Not that Fallout 3 is bad. I just think it evolved Fallout 3's formula. And then I think somewhere in the middle there, where God, who made was it? It wasn't ZeniMax, was it?
New Vegas was Obsidian.
They're
Obsidian. Thank you.
Yeah,
And then you know, and I think it's because it was Obsidian that it was so good.
Outer Worlds. What's
You know,
the one
it-
that came out that sounds like it? It's
Yeah.
those people. Is
Yeah,
it
the
Outer
Outer
Worlds?
Worlds.
It's the Outer
Yeah,
Worlds.
words.
Yeah. And the Outer Worlds was also a fantastic game. I just think it's Obsidian themselves that brought New Vegas into like a really good
I
level
think
of
my
quality.
issue is I just don't really like the Fallout universe now. It just to me is not that exciting. I'm just like, stop making Fallout
I
games
think
and give me
so.
another Skyrim or something like that in the Elder Scrolls land. Like, I just don't care about Fallout.
Yeah. And on that, we'll make a new segment just for the website so that Zai can play like really, really good games, and then you'll see like Fallout New Vegas just like slowly go down 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
I mean, I can't get over this. You're saying that Fallout New Vegas is the RPG of that generation when that's the Mass Effect generation.
It is,
I'm blown
It
away. I
is.
am blown away.
as along with Mass Effect 2. I
Have you
have
played many games,
New
or is that all you
Vegas.
played? Because the game is not that fun.
I swear. New Vegas, man, is an incredible storyline. There is branching off pathways. There's so much customized. The DLC, the 5 DLC, man, are all emotional gut punches, and they're all so well done. The mod capability of Fallout New Vegas is insane. Compared to 4, was boring and lackluster, and the characters just aren't interesting. Everyone in New Vegas was a cool cat of a character, and it was just I like the Wild Wild West
I don't even
feel
know if
to
I
it.
finished New Vegas.
You
I
know?
thought I got bored with it. And you're
Oh,
talking
man,
it's
and,
the
like, there's-
greatest game in your lifetime.
I loved it, and there's so many
What's your
different
second
ways you
favorite
can end the
game?
game.
Farmville?
My favorite of all time is FF8.
All right, so that's a noteworthy game, I guess. Okay, we'll let you keep your New Vegas stuff. All right, moving on, because we're going to just go around and round and round arguing about this. Anything else anyone wants to put out about games they played this week? Going once?
Super quick. I tried the demo of Bravely Default 2 also on the Switch. It is going to be good. It is going to be a good game. It's going to be very much Bravely Default again. If you guys have played those games on those 3DS, it's going to be that as a sequel. It doesn't look like it's doing anything groundbreaking. It's just more Bravely Default, which is
what was your
is very
take
good.
on the other Bravely Default? The first one and Bravely Second, I think it's called. Yep.
Second, yeah. I absolutely love those games. I'm a huge JRPG player, so it was really nice to play something that felt like old JRPGs, like really felt like those like 8-bit, early 16-bit games brought into like kind of a bit of a more modern like aesthetic. The gameplay was very much, it felt like playing Final Fantasy 1 in a lot of ways. The Brave and Default mechanic,
So before you
like
say this, and explain it, I'm gonna say I played Bravely Default, and I still don't get what the hell those things do. I don't know. I played through most of the first one on DS. No idea what those. I would just hit them randomly at times when I felt like it was necessary, and I didn't feel like it did anything. So now explain to me. Maybe I'm just stupid. I don't get this.
So basically, when you brave, you are taking future turns now. So let's say you're like, oh, I want to 4 actions this turn. I'm going to do brave, 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 brave. It's a max of 4. And then you've basically used your next 4 turns in that single turn. And then default is kind of the opposite, where you're banking your turns for the future so you can take way more actions all at once later down the road.
Oh, that's cool.
An example where works really well is with healers. So let's say one of your party members has fainted, they're dead, they're on the ground, and you're like, oh wow, we're in a really bad place. I'm going to have my healer do a bunch of brave actions so she could revive the person that has fainted and then also heal the party and buff them up at the same time. So it's like you go from being on the verge of death to all buffed up and healed in a single turn with your healer, who now doesn't get their next 2 or 3 turns.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So does that mean like they don't get like they just combine a whole bunch of moves and don't get them for the next little bit?
Right, which is why using the default action is important, where you're like, okay, especially for like healers and casters, where it's like, I'm going to bank a bunch of turns so that way when I really do need to, let's say, heal, I can do it a whole bunch of healing all at once. And then the monsters or enemies have that ability as well. They can bank their turns and they can kind of try to game your perception of what they're going to do. If, you know, hey, I'm trying to attack this this goblin, and it keeps using a default, which is also the block action. So if you attack something that is using default, it'll take less damage. So it's like, hey, so you can kind of anticipate that it's going to unleash a whole bunch of things. Maybe it's going to poison and paralyze you with its first 2 attacks and then hit you really hard on the second 2 because it banked its turns from previous turns. So that's the whole idea behind the Brave and default system, is that you're either banking or using up turns out of order, essentially.
Like the mechanics about that.
Yeah,
that sounds interesting.
Now that I kind of have an idea,
it is.
I played through the first one, like I said, maybe ish halfway, and I kind of just was half paying attention to story or anything else. It was just kind of like I'm playing because I have it. I feel like I should try it again because I would like to play, at least maybe just jump into the Switch one because I think I would like that. Did you play both of them on the 3DS?
Yeah, I played both on the 3DS. I really liked them. The first one, I'm like, I'll avoid spoilers. The ending loop is not very good. So like the last third of that game is kind of a drag, which is unfortunate. The second one is pretty good. It's more of the same, just a different like set of characters. But well, no, some of the characters are the same, but it's kind of like it really does feel like a sequel to Bravely Default 1 in a lot of ways, where it doesn't really do anything new. It's just more of a continuation of that game.
A refinement of their...
Yeah, it's like what happened after the events of the first game. And then Bravely Default 2 it feels like the exact same, and this is just from the demo, but it feels like the same game, but just in a nicer package because it's on the Switch.
Does this have job systems in it? I can't remember. Okay.
Yeah, so jobs are a big part of it.
I do like that.
Well, in Bravely Default 2, in the demo, you have, I think, 5 jobs that you could choose from, what you're doing is you're mixing and matching jobs. So your character could be proficient, have their like top job, they're really proficient in that, and have a backup job so they can kind of mix and match the abilities of both jobs. So you can only level them one at a time. But let's say in the demo, you all start off as freelancers, and they have a bunch of abilities. Let's say you get up to a certain level as a freelancer and you switch over to a black mage. Then you start leveling up your black mage abilities, and you can combine freelancer abilities and black mage abilities. So the job aspect is very much integral to it. It's it's the same team that made Octopath Traveler.
I was actually just so that was what I was going to segue into, because that's what I've been playing. I just finished it this morning, actually. I just got 50 hours in, and I just finished it. So the way you're talking about this has kind of got me excited, because I finished Octopath, and I finished all the chapters for every character, and I was a little disappointed because I want to keep playing it. I've really do you have anything else you want to say about that game before I move on to Octopath?
No, I don't. It looks like if you played the first ones, it looks like it's going to be more of that.
Is there a release date for it?
That's it. No, this year, but no firm date.
Anyway, so on Octopath, who has played that here? I have. Almost everybody has here. Missing one.
Not me.
So I.
Not Fallout.
Yeah, it's not Fallout. Yeah, totally different game. So I got it on Switch. I know it's on PC also, and it is. I have it on Switch Lite. It is the best game to have on your Switch Lite to carry around with you and just play all the time. And I got super addicted to this damn game. But when I finished it this morning, I was very upset because I wish I could just keep going, because I feel like, first off, I love grinding and just like my favorite thing is to sit and watch TV or YouTube videos or listen to a podcast and just go and grind levels. And so I end up becoming way too powerful for the game, and I just blow past everything. To me, that is so much fun. I don't know why. And I did that here. I beat all the bosses, no struggle at all, and I was kind of sad there wasn't anything else. I found out there is some side quests I can do that are pretty difficult, but the side quest system in the game kind of got me frustrated, so that was kind of a turnoff. But now that you're mentioned, I did not know that the Bravely Default people are the same people. I guess I should have put 2 and 2 together. I just didn't even think about it. So maybe I need to give that series another try, because I loved Octopath. Like, everything about it. I loved the jobs. I loved the like break system. It just, to me, that was perfect.
Mm-hmm. The break system I felt it took some elements of the Braven default system where you can take multiple actions at once. It's from like stunning the thing, right? But it felt that way to me in a lot of ways, where it was like, oh, okay, I can, if I break it strategically, I can then use a whole bunch of moves all at once and do these massive amounts of damage. I kind of feel the same way about Octopath. I'm really sad it never got any type of DLC. It feels like it's the kind of like game that could have like it could have kept going.
Everybody another chapter or two. Like, that would have been pretty easy to do. I just want to keep playing it. It was so much fun. The game was definitely a game I played it very late too. I only started playing it probably the end of last year, beginning of this year. So
I would like to try Octopath Traveler a lot. I heard a lot of.
It's Switch and PC. It's on PC right now. Yep. Yes. I think every game we talk about this evening is better than Fallout New Vegas. Well, good luck.
Well, it's a little old, and those games were never like Bravely Default 1. I could find copies of fairly easily. I had a hard time finding Bravely Second in stores. Mm-hmm. Like, obviously, you can download it if you want, but it's the kind of game that I think got a limited run because it was a very late 3DS game. It would be nice to have a Bravely collection on the Switch, but maybe one day.
Yeah, it would be nice to have them port it over. All right, well, moving on past our little spotlights of everything we've been doing this week, let's jump into, we kind of did, if this gets posted and people are listening, this is testing our new outline and structure of the show. So if you listen to this, let us know if this is terrible, what you like, what you don't like, as we've kind of mentioned before. So we had a review section, but we kind of merged that into what we were talking about with Doom Eternal already. So it sounds like that's pretty much you should go buy it and play it.
It's better than that.
I should, but I don't need it.
We are having the release of FF7 Remake this Friday.
Yeah.
Yes. Which I think is, if you look at April and the games that are coming out in April, it is, now that Resident Evil 3 is behind us, FF7 Remake, and nothing holds a candle to FF7 Remake. It was always going to be the biggest game in whatever month it launches, but it now kind of has the rest of the month to itself. I think Gears Tactics is the other big game this month, which is a spin-off in a genre that's pretty niche. So FF7 Remake is going to be the I think come this Friday the game to have
until like the next AAA guaranteed for months. I think FF7 is gonna hold the spot of the most played game up until maybe Cyberpunk or hell.
Yeah, it comes out eventually. I was gonna say Last of Us also. Yeah, it got pushed also. So.
Yeah, I think Ghost of Tsushima is the next big one after.
That's true. I forgot about that. I'm excited about it. Yeah. We don't know much about that game in general, so I don't know what to be excited about, but I just know they made Infamous, right? And I really liked those games.
Yeah.
So there's some faith.
I after playing Sekiro last March, and being a big Souls Soulsborne guy. Part of me felt as though Ghost of Tsushima was kind of like it's trying to play on that Sekiro vibe, much like Nier. Then I really took a better look at it and tried to like get a better feel for the game, and it's really better than the expectation I was setting it up for, and I'm actually quite excited to give it a good try just to see where it's at.
I think it's also trying to get more on the cinematic side of things.
Much.
Yeah,
Man.
the last big Sony exclusive games have all done that too, right? Like starting with The Last of Us, and even if you want to talk about The Order 1886,
Yeah.
God of War, Horizon, they all have that sort of it's gameplay.
Video movie.
Yeah, and I think it plays really well into that, especially the screenshots of the game, or just where you're just in an open field and you can see a big storm coming in the background. I think it's gonna be one of those visual, the big game, a big AAA game that just changes the visual perception of most titles. You're not just going through the game and not looking at anything like how it is in Doom Eternal, where you're just everything is just red all the time.
So is this game, does anyone have any idea, is it supposed to be like a Dark Souls type game where it's going to be difficult and hard, or is it going to be more of a just...
Yep. I think it's a weird mix of
I am
a
not good at
Souls
those
game
games, and I try and and I know everyone tells me how great these games are, and I play them, and I own several of them, and I can't do it. So if that's my fear, is if it just turns out to be like a Sekiro type of game where I play for 2 hours and I can't get past the first boss and I just get frustrated and never play it again. I'm sad that might be the case. So I'm hoping it's not, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Just looking at the screenshots, maybe a tactical action game, if that makes any sense. Not in the sense of Dark Souls or anything like that, where it's you get hit once you die, but mostly kind of just have to figure out the mechanics for each boss. I would actually I'm just looking at some screenshots and some early gameplay footage. Kind of reminds me of Zelda a little bit.
I think so. I think it may be I think that's a good way to think of Ghost of Tsushima. It's a Zelda-ish, Soulsborne-y, cinematic kind of game,
Yeah.
See,
I mean, as long as the weapons don't break, I'll be fine with that.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Every time I look at Tsushima, I always especially the combat and the battling. I think of a fighting game. It reminds me of a 3D arena fighter when it goes into its its combat stage, where it's all right, you have this set piece, and it's usually a one-on-one fight, and you kind of have to attack strategically. And I saw that, I was like, oh, that looks like Tekken, or Virtua Fighter is kind of the vibe I got from it, which is not what not at all what I was expecting to kind of get a feel for. And I haven't played a minute of it, obviously, but looking at the combat sections, I get a fighting game vibe from it.
Tell you the honest thing, one of my best friends is one of Canada's top fighting game players, except for First Smash for some reason, just terrible at it. He's one of Canada's top Tekken players and one of the best Street Fighter players. And he's really not into single player story games or Soulsy kind of games at all, or RPGs. He's purely a fighting game guru. And for some weird reason, he was talking to me about Ghost of Tsushima a couple months ago, and he was like, this game looks like it has really cool mechanics. And when you put it into the perspective of it looks like a Melee game, like a Tekken 7 game, it's weird to see how that's a different perspective that I wouldn't even consider. Because I was like, what are you talking about? It's kind of interesting,
Yeah, it's not what you expect from a game where it's it has the open world, it looks like you're running around and stuff, and then it goes into a fighting game. And I'm trying to
Yeah.
The only other game I could think of that's like that, and it's such a bad example because it's not a very good game, is Star Fox Adventures. Is you're running around the world, it's a Zelda-style game, and then you fight things, and it's all one-on-one.
So good. I just loved having a staff.
I loved
that Fox Crystal. I think I had a crush on her when I was a child. I don't know why. That was just all great. That whole thing was awesome.
I love that game past tense. I haven't played it in a million years, and I really liked it. And then like over the course of time, my opinion of it has just dropped every single year. I'm like, oh, but it had that, and that was
I
annoying.
haven't even
And this
thought
was
about
super
it
annoying.
since I played it, and I just remember good times. I feel like if I went back and played it, I'd probably hate it because it's probably shit now. But you know what? For now, I imagine it being good, so I'm gonna leave it at that.
It was a very good looking GameCube game. Like it still holds up. It looks very, very good.
On the topic of remakes and old games and Final Fantasy VII Remake coming out this Friday, if you could pick one, I'll let it slide, two games you would like a complete face overhaul, voiced audio remake, what would it be? Brought into like now. And I mean like it's good. Like it's good graphics. It's not going to turn out to be shit.
Well, definitely not Fallout New Vegas.
I'm gonna
not
beat
Fallout New
Just make
Vegas.
crap look better.
Honestly, if they could, like, if Nintendo would be willing to do so, Ocarina of Time, but like in the sense where you know how Square took Final Fantasy VII, how it looked on the PS1, and how they're doing it now.
Mhm.
You know, like to see that, we'll say the evolution of the idea behind Ocarina of Time expand in that sense. I know we kind of got with Breath of the Wild, but you know, Ocarina and in terms of like how it was back in the 64, I always saw it as a darker title, and just seeing it like in HD and also like just expanding on the entire concept of that game, I think would be really, really neat. I don't think we'll ever, or we won't see it right now, because it seems that Nintendo is going to do all the Mario games. And
Zelda anniversary will be in 2 years for their 35th.
Yeah, and even then. But I mean, I think the idea of just like having like that comparison of like you have Final Fantasy VII and then Final Fantasy VII Remake, and then you'll have Zelda Ocarina of Time and then Ocarina of Time Remake in that same sort of style. I think that would have been really. I think that would be a really cool concept.
I would.
What about you guys?
I'm like looking online like games that I think I would like a remake with, but I would love a Kirby Air Ride remake. If you ever played that game,
yeah.
For some reason, that game is a game that I played just so many hours of with my brother, my sister, my neighbors, and it was simple for everyone to get into, and they had different game modes, and I would just love flying around. They had like that free roam mode where you'd go like build like a new like vehicle thing. I thought that game was awesome. I think that would be so much fun nowadays to play, just because it was quick little races, but it was still like you had a little freedom to it. Probably would pick that. Star Fox Adventures, I see it on this list of like best GameCube games I looked up, and I would definitely say that too, because I always say that game is so underrated. It's so different. I don't like the regular Star Fox games that much. They're just kind of very generic, you know what you're going to get kind of game, but they threw me off with Adventures, and I really did like that. Anybody else?
Alex.
I've got like game titles
I know, I
just
had, like,
rushing through
100
my head
too.
right
Like,
now, and like,
I
keep coming up with games that I'm like, oh, I'd like a remake of this, and I'm like, but no, it's already perfect. Why would you want a remake of something that's already perfect? For the first example that came to mind is Chrono Trigger.
That's mine.
Sorry, but like Chrono Trigger's perfect. It doesn't need a
so
remake. So if I had to pick a game that probably needs a remake, and I hope it gets it, I am going to stall for time as I think.
Well, then I'm going to say that what you're thinking. I think that the remake to me is, if I don't even care if the graphics are better, if they could just fix the controls, because I know if I go back and play games that I feel like in my mind remind me like how great they were, and I go back and the controls are just awful, that is such a turnoff, because the way it's like, if you get something that's better and you try to go back to something that wasn't that great, it's so hard to go back and be like, well, it's just so much easier now with the way, you know, this and this works, or even like I go back, if you play like the different Halo games in the Master Chief Collection, you're like, why do I want to? Was it zoom? You keep wanting to hold your left trigger. Like, why do I got to push the right thumbstick now? Like, that's weird, or whatever. So I mean, if they could just fix the controls of games, I don't even care if you give me any upgrade. Like, you can jump it to 4K. Who cares? That's simple. It looks great. Whatever. But just give me some controls that work, because if you go back and play some games on the GameCube original Xbox, it's kind of rough. So
God,
it's
it's rough.
all right. I hope I filled enough time for you.
I came up with I came up with one. So a game that I would like remade, and actually Fallout New Vegas helped me think of it through a bit of a Kevin Bacon type situation. I would really like a remake of Knights of the Old Republic. So
Really?
the sequel was made by Obsidian,
geez.
which is where the New Vegas collection comes in.
I like the sequel better.
KOTOR 2. Oh my god, KOTOR 2 is not as good a game.
They're both. I mean, they're both
Amazing.
great.
Jedi Exile was
great.
awesome.
They're both Obsidian games, for better and worse.
Oh.
No, the original Knights of the Old Republic is such a cinematic game, but it came out at a time where you couldn't, like, it was almost too big for its own ambitions. I played it on the PC, which is also not the best way to play it. I found it was made for a controller, and I played it with a mouse and keyboard. So I would really like a modern, just tell that story again, like shot for shot remake of Knights of the Old Republic. I think would be my pick.
So one of my favorite games is another BioWare game from that time, Jade Empire. I loved that game so much. If they could fix that up and just, like I said, I don't even care if just scene for scene, just remake it, make it look better, just put some better textures in it, fix controls, tighten it up. Good to go. I don't need any more content. I'll just take the same game. I'll play it over and over and over. It would be great.
Yeah.
I actually had a couple lined up. My go-to immediately was Chrono Trigger. Screw it, Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross, because I like Chrono Cross more.
And I'm very mad because I had an opportunity to play it's Chrono Trigger that's on DS. They ported to that. So I used to have GameFly, and I had it on there, and I was like, I'll try it. The game came to me. I had it for like a month, never played it, and I sent it back, and I had the chance to buy it, and I should have done it because you can't freaking find it anywhere now on DS because it's so old and it's such a rare find.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty disappointed in myself.
Yep.
But continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, it would definitely be either Chrono Trigger or Chrono Cross, but seeing as how that you and I both, Alex. The other two I would really like, to see in a new age would probably be Earthbound, or like Mother 2.
Yeah.
I'd like the concept of it's such a weird game for its time, and I think that would be a good one to bring back into like a remake age. But the one I actually really, I think it's new enough where it can be. It's like PlayStation 1 era, and you can, it was a little better in terms of like. It's hard to remake like an NES, like one of those old school games,
You're starting from scratch at that point.
Yeah, you're totally starting from scratch. I think I would like, and I know this is a bit weird, but Parasite Eve.
It's a great pick, yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember Parasite Eve. I was really small. I was little when it came out, and it was just my brother picked it up for me, and it was such a peaky, freaky ass game, and it was. I couldn't play it till I was a couple years older because it was so damn scary. But I would really like to see a modern day Parasite Eve, or even like a remake of the first one because it was great.
Yeah, Parasite Eve does not get a lot of attention. Like it never did, even because of 2 games came out for it. But it never got the attention like it deserved, and like it came out like the PS1 era was so jam packed with JRPGs and just games from Square in general that it was almost like expected for them to be like, oh yeah, they're gonna have 4 games a year and they'll each have their niches. Parasite Eve, because of the horror vibe, it just kind of got like lost in the shuffle when fantasy RPG or like modern fantasy RPGs like Final Fantasy VII were like really taking off. Everyone wanted to be the next Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
I have a question about Final Fantasy VII Remake for you, for everyone. I want opinions on this one. What year will it be when we are playing the final chapter of the remake?
2024. That's my guess.
2024? All right.
When did they announce the remake officially?
2015.
Shit, really?
Yeah. E3 2015. I was glued to my TV. That was the Shenmue 3 reveal as well, I think.
Okay. In all on, so that depends on where the remake ends, I think, because
So
it
this
ends when, yeah.
it ends, and I haven't played it, but it ends when they leave Midgar.
That's right, and that's when they
So
leave
how
Midgard.
so how much?
And that
I have not played all of Final Fantasy. Like I don't think I've ever finished any of them. To be honest, I've started every single Final Fantasy. It seems like, and then I end up just getting lost or confused or something. So how much gameplay is that in this one? Like, from
it's like half of the first disc, not even.
Yeah, it's a very small. I recently played through FF7 again, and to get out of Midgar is like what 5 hours on the PlayStation 1.
so are they
Like if you're
are
taking
they
your time and
expanding that
looking for
then
everything.
to be? I
Yeah.
hope so.
Yes,
So this
because
remake-
it wasn't.
the remake should have like at least 60
Okay.
hours worth of gameplay in it, is what they're saying.
And is
Yeah.
each
So
additional
they
one, sorry
turned
for
it.
cutting you off, but each additional one, is it going to be a full release title? They saying, like, okay, so this is going to
Yeah,
be
it is.
expensive
But
remake here.
In all honesty, yeah.
Yeah.
In all honesty, Alex, I don't think that they're gonna do the same thing with everything after Midgar, because I think the reason they're delving so hard into Midgar is to build more of a foundation of the game,
Okay.
in terms of like, this is the situation of the world, and then because everything after Midgar is there wasn't as much detail in Midgar as, let's say, going to like Junin or going up north, or I think that there is a lot in the world after Midgar, and I don't think there's enough before Midgar, which is why it's so expanded.
Yeah.
So I don't. So yeah.
I agree with that.
So I don't think. So I think they're going to be able to do everything after fairly successfully or successively.
Yeah.
Because everything after Midgar, there's a ton of stuff. Midgar was just so underdeveloped. And I think that's why they're really going hard on overdeveloping Midgar. But I think once you leave Midgar and head to Junin and go for the weapons and go for all the summons, I think there's over enough content there to actually make it without having to like I don't think you need to expand anything after Midgar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just
I get that.
Midgar, was so poorly developed compared to the rest of the game that the second I think they leave it, I think they're going to have all the source material they need. So I don't think there's really going to be that dramatic of changes when you compare it to like the first episode of the remake. I think like, let's just say the hypothetical episode 2, 3, and 4 maybe. Who knows? I think that'll be a lot more streamlined with the natural flow of what the game was.
Yeah. So if you had to date it, when is the last chapter coming out?
Let's see, 5 years development time, and to make the first chapter, build all the foundations, I say 2024.
2024.
I think maybe 2 more chapters. Maybe 3. I think 2 years per chapter. Now that they have all of the hard groundwork and the character models and everything done and out of the way, I think Midgar. I think the first episode up to Midgar. I think Midgar up till the end of Disc 1. I think then Disc 2, and then Disc 3 is what? Just the ending. It's literally the last fight, right?
I think so. I did not play it on PS1, so I'm not sure, but
Okay, yeah. On PS1, Disc 3 was just go north and fight Sephiroth. That was it. But
like 30 years ago.
So I don't think I think the meat of the story is going to be in like episodes 2 and 3. I don't think they're gonna. I think if they do it, it'll be like the second chapter will be like Midgar up until Clad going amnesiac and falling into the Mako, and then the next part is going to be Tifa finding him, and then to the ending of the game.
Yeah.
I think 2024.
I have the opposite thought. I think that they're going to take their There's sweet time, and every release, like every chapter, is basically going to be its own release. So I expect it till
Jesus.
2028. Basically, it's going to be on the
My grandkids
PS4,
will be playing this game.
PS4, PS5. Yeah,
Yeah.
PS4, PS5, and launch of the PS6 will be the last chapter.
PS6.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think they're just going to invest so much. Like they've already invested so much time into one chapter, and
Yeah.
I think if they decide to, you know what, not rush through, but like kind of expedite what they've already done, I think it devalues like how big this game is. And I think what they're going to do is they're just going to make it like every chapter its own unique big story. Sure. And you can play part one, and I get the feeling that, you know, once you complete part one, you're getting the full experience of one game. It's not like, you know, it just cuts off and it's like, oh, you got to wait like 3 years until the next chapter. I think like once you complete that, you would be satisfied with that ending for that part of the game. So yeah, I don't think they're rushing it. And besides, like, I mean, it's also a money factor too. I mean, yeah, you put 4 chapters out at almost $90 Canadian per game, you know, plus collector's editions,
bundles, plus, you know, once it's all done, here's a
remaster of the remaster, remaster of the remake.
You know.
No, I think they're just gonna milk it through and through. So until 2028, at least.
At least, wow.
Okay. At least.
Okay, I don't think my bet is not 2028. I was going to say 2025, because I think it's going to be 4 chapters. I don't think they've come out and said how many chapters it's going to be, but I think it's going to be 4 chapters, and I think 2025 is a good amount of time where they can release all 4 of them on both the PS4 and the PS5. I think they don't want to have, let's say, the last 2 chapters or the last chapter be so far in the future that they can't put it on the same console that the first chapter came out on. I think that would be a bad look for it. So I do think all 4 chapters are going to come out on PS4, and that Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 4, or whatever it's called, is going to be like the last PS4 game.
But that's got to be what,
and
then,
then
next year or so. I mean, when do you think the last PS4 game is going to be made? Or do you think it'll be like a dual launch PS4, PS5?
Oh yeah, I think it'll be like on both. Like I think chapter 1 will be ported to PS5 in its first year, then everything else will be dual releases. So that if you wanted to play if you wanted PS4 versions of Final Fantasy VII Remake, you can have that for all 4 of them, and you can have it for PS5 as well. That's kind of my bet. I do think it's going to come to PC eventually because it is a Square Enix game, and they've been really pushing PC a lot lately. So I know Sony's been kind of like certain games, but only really certain specific games are going to go on PC. I think Square will eventually put them all on PC, maybe Xbox. But
what, they just announced Horizon on PC?
Yeah, Horizon's coming to PC, and I think MLB The Show is going multi-platform. That's more like MLB's decision rather than Sony's. But Sony games are going to start showing up a bit more places.
All right, well, let's move on to some of the news this week. We've kind of dragged out a little bit of when we were at, so let's just hit some of these quick news stories, and we can all throw in like an opinion of what we think about it. So first big news story that I saw, and this is probably from the last few days, I kind of grabbed some random stuff. It's kind of our practice news section, was the all of a sudden reappearing Modern Warfare 2 campaign being remastered and released on PS4 first. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I think it's fine. I don't understand why it's a timed exclusive to PlayStation
too.
It's not a new game. Like Call of Duty's always had that timed exclusive. Like it was Xbox for a long time, then it was PlayStation for a while, or since then.
Money, so.
And yeah, exactly. But like for a new game, I understand that. Hey, you can play it on PlayStation only for a month, type thing. This is a campaign of an old game. Like it's not like
silly at this point. It's like now you're just like, why? What are you doing? Like, why do you need to hold it back?
Yeah,
it almost makes Sony look bad. It's because then it makes it look them being bad guys, saying like, okay, can't you just let everybody play? Like, I don't know if
And like,
especially with the
is anyone
situation-
sitting at home? Is anyone sitting at home being like, oh, you know what? Like, if only I had a PlayStation to play the Modern Warfare 2
Right.
remaster campaign. Like, no, like, like this generation is mostly wrapped up at this point. Like, we're like, no one is running
not.
out to, yeah, no one's running out to buy new consoles based on whatever exclusivity is left. It's just
I
here are
don't.
the
There aren't any new game is not being announced for current gen consoles anymore. Everything is all going towards PS5 and Xbox.
Yeah, but
The
I'm
new
wondering
Xbox.
if I mean,
Yeah.
Nothing-
that whole statement is, are these new consoles going to get pushed? Is that going to change a lot of stuff? Are people going to start? Are we going to have like a drought of games if nothing else is being planned for this gen still, and then we don't have new consoles for, if they did delay them based on the Corona stuff or whatever, because nothing's official, but they would want it to come out during the holiday season, I'm sure. So it'd probably get pushed to next holiday season.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna have a year of just blank gaming. Like what? How does that all happen? Like what do they do? Yeah, I mean that
Backlogs.
works for us, but these studios where are they making their money? Just on games that people are,
yeah.
Doom Eternal is going to be going to $15 soon on the next Steam sale because these games just drop in price. So I mean, they're not making as much money. So
Yeah.
that's
It's
such
it is a weird cycle. It's such a weird cycle, and I mean, like the Corona stuff is unknown. Like,
Right.
this has never happened before, so we don't really know what the effect will be on game
Okay.
releases. But it is a weird cycle where both kind of Sony and Microsoft seem to have begun their next gen like changeover, and
Yeah.
then reversed course several times. Like, there's been tons of delays. There's been like release date changes, especially. Like Corona is a factor in all of that. So you kind of ending up with this like,
for it, so man.
well, like how is it like as we're recording this, it is April 5th. Both systems are still supposed to release in 2020.
Yeah.
Everyone assumes November. That is 7 months away, and we know next to nothing
Right.
about either of them. The Switch, they showed us the concept in October, and it came out in March, which is only a 5 month difference. So I guess
okay,
like,
but
it's not
look at it this way with
unprecedented.
the Switch.
But
So the Switch right now is having shortages because people are trying to buy them because they're in quarantine right now, and I don't know if
Yeah.
it's a production issue or a distribution issue of trying to get them to the different stores and stuff for people to purchase. But if that's having a problem impact, then the impact on the production on these other new consoles that are supposed to be made, where are they going to make this up at? Because I'm sure I work at a big company that has manufacturing and stuff, and if you miss one little thing along the way, everything down the line gets pushed so far. So I'm wondering, how are they gonna? Are we gonna they're gonna release still in the November timeframe and just have shortages, and that's gonna be a whole freaking mess, or do they push it? I mean, a spring release, is that something that's just stupid to even say, or because I know they want that holiday timeframe.
Spring release.
I don't know.
It's so weird to say. And like looking ahead, like Sony has games this year, which that's their bread and butter. Like they still have, like we talked about, Ghost of Tsushima. That's a big first party game for them. The Last of Us 2 is still 2020 as far as everyone knows. That's a big game for them.
Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk's multi-plat,
Still.
but it is like it's coming to play. It's a big game on PlayStation. Look over the Xbox side of things. What do they
Game
have
Pass.
left for this year? Gears Tactics.
A bunch
Game
of
Pass,
random
yeah.
stuff. Just like that's what's holding them together.
Yeah, well, they have Halo Infinite. You're right, where it comes out, but I feel like if you're going to delay the new Xbox, you have to delay the Halo with it. You can't have Halo come out on Xbox One and be like, oh, it's coming later to Series X. No one will care. It'd be like if they released Breath of the Wild on Wii U before they released it on Switch. Like you go both together. You strike together.
Yeah.
I think things are going to be interesting the next couple of months with, not just gaming, literally every industry, the movie industry. Look at all the movies that have been pushed and delayed. Like, that's huge for this stuff, like moving stuff right to streaming, moving stuff to the end of the year, and Marvel pushed their whole schedule out, almost a year with all the different movies they have in that franchise for all that stuff. Like, you look at any industry of anything, everything's getting just delayed. So we're going to just probably have a period where there's nothing new coming out because no one's really making stuff. Look at automotive. The cars are getting pushed out. I mean, you name it. We're gonna have a weird rest of 2020, I think.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's why the last few, like these last week and up through next week, we're getting tons of games. Like all of a sudden, it's time to play games. Like we're getting Doom Eternal. Well, we have gotten Doom Eternal and Animal Crossing. Resident Evil 3 just came out. We got Final Fantasy 7 remake. Like, all right, there's big games right now. There aren't going to be for the next.
Yeah, well, everything that was announced up until like probably middle of May, I think, is really all we know. Like, there's not a whole lot of June stuff I can think of, or anything, through summer. I mean, usually summer's a little slower, anyways. But
yeah,
I mean, we don't have any idea what's going on at the end of the year. E3 was canceled this year, so we have to see. And a lot of companies are coming out saying we're not even going to replace any type of showing with anything this year. They're going to just do something on their own time, unannounced, or I don't know. It's just a weird time for everything. It's like we have so many unknowns, it's kind of exciting because you don't know what to expect, but at the same time, it's also disappointing because you have nothing to look forward to that that's happening. So,
yeah, I mean, one of my personal favorite games ever is getting a remaster next month, so I'm pretty happy about that. But I am looking at the list of games in May, and there's some games here that are legitimately looking like good games, but there's nothing on the level of a Final Fantasy or a Cyberpunk.
Mm-hmm.
Like Minecraft Dungeons is probably the biggest game in May.
Pretty big, I think. I think just the Minecraft name has got the following. So
yeah, it'll do well for itself.
Yeah,
but yeah, you're right.
I'm looking forward to. There's like little games that I'm excited for, but nothing that I'm like I'm losing sleep over. Can't wait for.
Yeah, I mean, Maneater is going to be Game of the Year. Maneater looks absolutely amazing.
Hilarious.
What just came out was Ty the Tasmanian Tiger, the somewhat remake of it. That game I've been playing, actually I like it. All right, moving on to the next game story before we fall into another nostalgia black hole. Let's just quickly go over the PS game, or the Xbox Games with Gold and the PlayStation. What do they call that now? Instant Games Collection. PS Plus something. I don't know.
I thought it was. I think it was just
called?
PS Plus.
Did they get rid of that instant thing?
Yeah, PlayStation Plus.
So it looks like with
PS
Xbox
Plus.
that came out for the month of April, Project Cars 2, Knights of Pen and Paper bundle.
Yep.
These are both on Xbox One, and then 360 they're giving out Fable Anniversary and Toy Box Turbos.
I'm excited for Anniversary.
Yeah, but it's already on Game Pass, I think. So it's like if I wanted to play it, I would already played it, and I think I already own it on disc, and I feel like they already gave it out for free somehow, but maybe not.
They did previous Xbox game.
Okay.
Game of the month.
So
Xbox
that sounds
Live.
okay. And then on the PlayStation side, they have where's the actual list? I know it's Uncharted 4, which is a pretty big game. Oh, and Dirt Rally 2. That's the other one.
Yeah.
It's the Uncharted collection.
No, the Uncharted collection was
No, that was last
Uncharted
month.
collection
Uncharted
was
4.
last month, I think, or 2 months ago. They did do that.
Yeah.
And
It was recent, yeah.
Yeah, this is Uncharted.
This is just 4 straight up.
Just
Kind of a weird title, though, for Uncharted 4 to be like the PS game, just given the fact that it was the main bundle for the PlayStation 4 for the longest time.
I don't know a lot of people who are let's say Sony fans, or at least follow Sony games that have not played Uncharted 4.
Yeah.
It seems
Actually,
like
I've
it
never
was
played
like.
but I own it.
Here's
And
your.
I bought it on release day, and I just never played it. I don't know why. Just stuff got in the way.
I
And
hate when that
I
happens.
absolutely love the Uncharted games. I played the first 3. I was so excited for 4. I could not wait to play it. It arrived in the mail. I was going to play it and just never touched it. I just had too many things going on.
Looking at this whole list across both, I think the one game is that stands out to me as I haven't really played, or I've never played it, and it looks interesting. Is Knights of Pen and Paper on
I
Xbox.
played that on iPad. It is pretty fun. It's a fun little series.
Again, I like me RPGs.
They're fun little games.
So
They're not. I mean, there's not a ton of depth to it, but it's not bad. Yeah, it's free.
it's solid. Either on both sides. If you're on PlayStation, you get Uncharted 4. That's a great game. It's a 10 out of 10 type game. And then the Fable collection on Xbox is it's that nostalgia, right? There hasn't been a new Fable game in a million years. Let's face it, it probably isn't going to be another for a million years. It's nice to be able to play the full All right, here they are. Here are the games.
1 to 3.
Is it 1 to 3 or is it just the?
Or is it just the first one?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's the
Yep,
master
Fable
of
Anniversary,
the
so
of
it's just
Fable
the
1.
first one.
It's not the.
All right,
Yeah.
so moving on to our little last segment that we've kind of have. So people listening, if you're there, give us feedback about this too. We tried to do something about a new game to talk about for the week and an old game. So we kind of did talk about the old game a little bit. We talked about Final Fantasy VII. It sounds like a lot of people here are big fans. I feel bad that I'm like the only standout that like kind of played it. I have it on PlayStation, never played it really. So sad. And then new game, I got 2 games written down, which is Final Fantasy VII Remake, which we also talked about. And then I wanted to have a quick little conversation, because I know we're running out of time here, about Persona 5 Royal. So has anyone played that or played the original Persona 5 before Royal came out?
I have never gotten myself into a Persona game. And I know this is going to sound really funny. I only recently started looking into Persona because I don't know if you guys watched Death Battle on YouTube. They had it's where they pit like 2 characters against each other, and it's usually like video game or anime characters. It's really good. It's for Rooster Teeth. And they had a character, a Persona character. She used like an ice rapier, and she's from Persona 2, I think. And where they like shoot themselves in their head to release a Persona. And it was at that moment I'm like, whatever this series is, I want to get into it. So I haven't played a Persona yet, but I really want to.
Yeah, I'm playing through Persona 5. Funny enough, I bought the game, and then like I think it was like 2 or 3 months later, like Persona 5 Royal was announced, which kind of sucks. But I mean, can't really beat $19.99 for like such a great game. Although it's in a red box, which is kind of disappointing. But yeah, no, I mean like Persona 5 is definitely worth it. It's maybe the best like RPG available on the PlayStation 4 right now, and with Royal, I'm sure. Yeah,
These are big opinions.
Yeah. What is your opinion on it? Do you not like it, Alex, or is this something that?
I just when you're saying it's the best RPG on a console that is just loaded with RPGs,
I played Persona 4 Golden on Vita, and that was the best JRPG I could play on Vita. How about that?
I mean, has anything other than JRPGs come out on the PS Vita?
That's like the only game I ever played on my Vita.
Yeah.
Oh no, I played Digimon Detective whatever Sleuth. I played that on Vita.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but no,
I love the PS Vita.
RIP.
Yeah.
Is anyone actually getting Persona 5 Royal? Let's get to the point of the whole thing.
I mean, if it drops in price recently,
I feel the same way.
Just because again, I'm playing it right now. I feel like buying it again doesn't really justify it, unless like I read up and they like added the whole like we'll say expanded content to it, but it doesn't seem to be the case.
So you're playing it now. I own Persona 5. I have the Steel Case edition. I never opened it. Another game I was super excited for, just came out at a bad time. Too much going on in my life. Too many games to play. Too many things to do. And then I heard about Royal as I was about to play it, just kind of you were talking about. And then I was like, I'm going to hold off. I'll decide what I'm going to do. But now that you're playing it right now, do you wish it would just be DLC and like you could just pay $35 or $40 just to expand it onto your game and integrate it versus a whole new game? Because that's how I feel.
I mean,
I would have loved to, as I knew this game was coming out, I wish I could have started it back in like December when I wanted to start Persona 5 and played it, and then the game comes out, I pay $40 and I upgrade it, and all of a sudden it just changes the game a bit and it adds everything. Like that to me would have been, as a person who personally wanted it. I feel like if you're a person that likes that type of game, you've already played it. I mean, who's going to play this a second time? Is there that many people? Like, is it that vast of a number?
And it's not that old a game either, right? Like, how
I
understand.
Are you going to play a 100-hour game
next month? Yeah, the same one, right? Like, because next month, Xenoblade's remaster comes out, and it's a remaster of a Wii game. I haven't played the original Xenoblade in years. I'm looking forward to a remaster of it with new content. Persona 5,
Go on. Sorry.
I would actually love to find I don't want to get us off track into another nostalgia dive, but Xenoblade Chronicles is my second favorite game of all time. So
big reveals tonight.
Anyway, I don't like. We'll talk about it next episode. I'll just talk
We're
about
bonus
Xenoblade the
episodes.
whole
Just talk
episode.
about our favorite 5 games.
Yeah.
And how many games I haven't played I still haven't shrink wrap.
Yeah.
Go on, sorry.
But Persona 5 is just it's too new. I don't like it's not why is it getting a whole new edition? I can't really wrap my head around at this point. Like it's not this isn't like the old Street Fighter Turbo Advanced days where it was like if you're doing a patch you need to add a new like a new version of that game so people can actually play it.
So do you know when
just
do you know when Persona 5 came out? What year?
Persona 5 I think it was 2018.
2016.
No.
I think it is.
What?
Yeah,
There's no way.
September 15, 2016.
Yeah, it's older than you think. So it has been a while, but it does not.
It is much. That is
I had the same
much
exact
older than
thought when I read that too.
Yeah.
See, it released worldwide in April 2017, so it's not that.
Still,
no, it's not that old, but I mean,
not too bad. You're right. I didn't read this. I thought it's a 20.
It's only like 4 months.
Yeah, but it's still like that.
Something like.
It's a whole year.
It's just weird. It is odd to me.
It is. I always forget that. Like, we never got the PS3 version, but Japan did. And it's weird to me to think that there's a PS3 version of Persona 5 out there.
Version, which okay, I understand it. The thing's dead, but I wish it could have happened. But why don't we get a damn Switch version? Like, why did we put this guy in Smash Bros?
Yeah, it makes no
sense to me that we're gonna put a character from this series into a game that literally has nothing to do with Nintendo right now, other than some stupid like spin-off game of it. It just pisses me off because this is the game I want to play in bed and play all the time. Now I have to go downstairs and turn my PS4 on and play it and sit on the couch when I could be laying in bed upstairs. So,
you know what's funny? There's probably more Joker as a character on Nintendo platforms, like when you count the 3DS games, than there are Banjo and Kazooie games on Nintendo platforms.
But Banjo has like a whole like,
but I mean,
like history with Nintendo, and that's their whole life.
It was like a defining, like Banjo Kazooie is one of the defining games of the Nintendo 64. Persona Q is not one of the defining games of the 3DS.
If you ask me the name what these Persona like spin-offs are, I'm like, there's like an arena one, there's one with the Q, like you said. I don't know what all these games are. They all suck to me. And I like the Persona series, so I don't know. All right,
I prefer Shin Megami Tensei, but that's just me.
I like.
All right, let's wrap it up here. So, let's just.
All right.
All right. Let me hit up the outro for us.
Oh yeah, go for it.
I'll hit up the outro for us.
It's all you.
So, everyone, thank you actually so much for being a part of episode 0. This has been a really fun experience for us for the first time. So we have Kevin, Alex, Jacob, and myself. So thank you so much, everyone. Don't forget to send us an email at journal.mail@linkcable.com. Tweet us at linkcable1 and subscribe to us on YouTube, Mixer, Twitch, and Instagram, or any of your favorite apps for our podcast. And if anything, you guys can always go to linkcable.com and check out our reviews from there. And if you have any comments or concerns, email us or message us at any time. We love taking the feedback. Thanks so much, everyone.
Guys. See you next episode.
All right.
Recording. Go for it.
All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 0 of the Link-Cable Podcast, our new podcast where we're going to be discussing all things